What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and we're here tonight for Fan Friday. That is right. This is your night. So any questions, any comments that you have are more than welcome. We've got a couple from the mailbag, so we're going to answer those as well. But look, this has been a fun ride. We are a week away, less than 6 days away from the draft. And there will not be a Fan Friday next week. It will be more of a, talking about the draft, stuff like that. So there will be content for that. But look, we're going to be going through this bad boy. Hope you've all enjoyed all of the content. We've got one more position to go through tomorrow. It will be safeties, and already almost done with that one. And that's another fun position and one that the Eagles are going to be focused on. So hopefully you checked all of those out on offense, defense, special teams, everything. Love to hear your thoughts on those because a lot of great options for the Eagles. We've got 4 picks in the top 94, 6 overall, but we talk about the 26 picks that we have in the next 3 years. Oh, hell yeah. You talk about the cap space we're going to have even after, if we were to stay put, draft right there, we will be perfectly fine. So you could make some trades. You could do a lot of things. So I think going to be some exciting times, but I hope you're all enjoying this week. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. But we're here and going to do my best. Yo, my dude Drew in the building. Going to do my best to answer all of your questions and going to try to keep it around 20 minutes. Got some things I got to do tonight and then got to get up super early. So it's going to be a wild day. But I will be back tomorrow night with that safety video. But we're here now, taking all your questions. So let's get it in, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate each and every one of you. Yo, appreciate you tuning in, Twisted, and hope you're all having yourselves a great start to your weekend. Sean, my man in here, let's go. Appreciate you guys taking the time. It's been a long day so far for me, but look, this draft stuff has been taking it out of me. Any second that I have any, kind of free time, it's talking about or, doing something about the draft. So, it's been a wild ride, but I hope you all have enjoyed it. We're going to next week, leading up to the draft, to have my 1 point only mock draft, and we'll break down who I have as my favorite target for the Eagles as we do each year. So I'll give you all that information leading up to the draft, but I think Thursday we'll have a pre-draft video. Maybe I'll talk to you guys live throughout it. I'm going to figure out what exactly is going on, but definitely going to keep you up to date with everything that's going on. And as soon as, we get the pick and everything, I will jump on. We'll talk about that person. And look, 6 days away, ready to go through an effing wall. So let's go. Luffy, my man, appreciate you tuning in. Got your questions ready from the mailbag. So look, we're ready to rock and roll tonight. Let's jump right into that mailbag. And any questions that you have, anything you want answered, other than pretty much asking me what I'm going to do, because clearly I'm going to give you that answer, this upcoming week with that show that we do each year. So it's been fun. And we're going for year 5 in a row here. Not so sure this year who the hell the Eagles are going to pick, but I'm going to do my best to figure that one out. And it's been fun breaking down each position. It's like, oh, damn, man, we could go here. We could trade back. We could trade up, try to get this guy. We could do so many things. And we got 2 first rounders. So oh, yeah, I'm going to try my best to shoot at number 30 as well. But let's start it off. Luffy getting his questions in to the mailbag. So appreciate you doing that, my man, and going to do my best to answer these ones for you here. So let's check them out. We've got first up here, who would you like to wear the number 0? Well, for me, that is not too much of a big deal to me. But the fact that all these players can now, since last year, wear all these single digit numbers, receivers and running backs, all that great stuff, changing, all the things that were set in stone for such a long time. But now this year, with them opening up the number 0, I know that gets some of these players excited. So I'm sure one of these rookies is, going to be rocking it, if not somebody wanting to change to it. But I have no idea. Let's just say if we get a skill player in this draft, maybe they will rock it. If not, what about Olamide Zaccheaus? Maybe he can come in and he'll rock that 0. But let me know who you think you want to wear number 0. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Luffy, anyone else? Who would you like to see wearing that number 0? Now up next, who do you think could have a breakout season? I like this question here. Now, we talked a lot about a bunch of different names already. Clearly this offense, I think, is going to still be one of the best. We're going to see what we do for right guard. the wide receiver 3, you bring in some competition with Olamide, but I think, in the draft, we can add to a lot of places. So one thing I love that we did that makes me feel like you don't have to go anywhere in the draft, but we definitely could. And I know a lot of people want us to, but Rashad Penny, I think, given the opportunity, when healthy, this guy, we talked about, his yards per carry and his yards after contact. This guy is one of the best in history when healthy. And I think I saw one of these things. Was it maybe even yesterday or today, something early today? It was about him getting 15 plus touches. And, he has like massive stats in all of those games. And it's like, look, man, we all know. I mean, I think people know the fact that this dude is super talented. It's just the fact that he has an injury history. So, with this being sort of a running back by committee approach, you talk about Kenneth Gainwell. Now, if Trey Sermon, third rounder, if he could pan out and, find something diamond in the rough that gives you a few snaps for a game, helps you on special teams, maybe not as a returner or anything. But I think, you've got a room here, Boston Scott, and, Kennedy Brooks is going to be given another opportunity. Maybe we add somebody to the room, but I think Rashad Penny will have an opportunity to not, get overworked here. And not that he necessarily was, he just, had some injuries. But man, if this kid stays healthy, I think Rashad Penny's going to have a huge year. And at the same time, I think Kenneth Gainwell too. So as much as, Bijan would be great in this offense, of course, I think I'm pretty good with what we have right now and would be excited to see what it looks like. And I know a lot of people are very skeptical of that. Maybe we add somebody. Go check out that running back show. There are a lot of talented guys I think you could get, if not in the first, the second, the third, if you acquire a fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe. So there are talented guys here, and you don't have to necessarily go in the first round. So for me, Penny on offense, and then, on the defensive side of the ball, Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean both being given an opportunity to step up, I think is going to be huge for them. So I think they could have their breakout years, So, Reed Blankenship, clearly we've got our trio of corners back. But guys like Morrow are going to be given an opportunity. Greedy Williams, limited snaps maybe for him. But I think Marlon Tuipulotu being healthy, he will get an opportunity to be part of the interior rotation. We'll see who we draft. But, Davis and Milton Williams, I've talked about Milton Williams extensively. I think he's going to have a huge season. We talked about how dominant he was last year with such limited snaps. So for me, we know that Davis and Dean are stepping up. I think Milton Williams, too, gets an expanded role. So I think if I have to pick anybody, Milton Williams. But I think Davis and Dean are going to have, there's a reason we drafted them. And we talked about getting both of them with, the multiple first-round picks we had last year. And we get one in the first. We trade the first-round pick at A.J. Brown. Then we end up getting Nakobe Dean in the third. And, in the second, we got Jason Kelsey's replacement in Cam Jurgen. So that was pretty fun. I'm expecting some more fun. But I think we knew, we were going to probably lose some people. We lost Hargrave, so that's huge. But I think Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, those guys will step up. Nakobe Dean, clearly with both TJ Edwards and Kaiser White leaving, he's going to have an opportunity. So if Morrow or we draft someone or whoever wants to try to step up, Sean Bradley and Christian Ellis there, Davian Taylor. So you've got guys there. And then, you talk about safeties, losing both those guys. Terrell Edmonds, I think, people are sleeping on the fact that he could be a starter. But not so much that they're sleeping because, the room is kind of bare. But the fact that he really could play quality reps. And I think if you bring somebody in this draft, maybe like a Brian Branch or something, you could actually get some other guys, and we'll talk about those safeties tomorrow. But there's some guys you can plug in with this, quarters defense, I believe. We talk about Vic Fangio style, but Nick Saban style, that Alabama defense. So a lot of guys that are familiar, so kind of your hybrid safety type players. You could definitely add to this room. But Reed Blankenship and Kayvon Wallace, Andre Chachere, Tristan McCollum, Marquise Blair, those guys will get an opportunity to compete. But I would add to that room. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who do you guys see breaking out here? What is on your mind, ladies and gentlemen? And these comments are going. Let's ride. Jimmy, pick Bijan at 10 and make it 5 years in a row. Hey, I'm going to see how I feel. I've told you, the Eagles love Bijan Robinson, but not sure they love the thought of taking him at 10. So maybe you trade back. Maybe you acquire some more picks and then you still get him. Or maybe you get an offensive lineman that could step in at right guard and then replace his lane when he leaves. And maybe that makes sense to protect, your quarterback you just paid, or maybe you get an edge rusher, maybe, to replace Reddick when he leaves in a couple years, if, or whatever. And you could add an interior guy to replace Hargrave and do a lot of things. You could do so many things. So Sean, I'm going to break that down. And, next week I'll be telling you who that person is. And, I like to take it down, man, because we talked about it the first couple of years. I was putting that information out and people were just, so you watch, if you see now, it's funny, last night we talked about Brents. I saw people talking about Brents today. I'm like, yeah, okay. Look, I'm just trying to get that information out, but I like doing this where we thoroughly break down everybody. We talk about where we think they'll go. And then we get to a point where we do one mock draft, man, because it's funny seeing people do 70 mock drafts. And then when the Eagles draft someone, they're like, oh, I called it. And it's like, yeah, but didn't you have like 70 mock drafts? Like, of course you probably got something right, man. So what I try to do is, just do it one time. We talk about it together. We break it down. And in that mock draft, I'll talk about if that's how I feel the Eagles, if that's the person. But I'll try to get my guy. I'll try to do that stuff. So we'll get to that when we do it. But would you trade the 10th pick to get more picks because there's so many busts in the first round? There's a lot of talent in the first round. I mean, if you suck at drafting, you could get a bust, but we're fine. If we don't like who is left, if all of our like top guys are gone, that's why I just mentioned you could trade back easily. So yeah, trading back, trading forward, they're all very possible with Howie Roseman at the helm. And when you've got 26 picks in the next 3 years, you've got the cap space we do. We could have players, we could have picks, we could do so many things. And that's why I tell people to be patient, but get excited because we've got a great, not just a great team, but you've got great general manager. You've got a great owner who allows him to do his thing. So, man, I think whatever happens, we're all going to be excited. Now, there's always going to be people pissed off, but we're all used to that by now. So let's just get excited because I think this team is heading in the right direction. We just got to add some pieces to it that will help us stay heading in the right direction for the future. We get Bajan. I would like to see him or Penny wearing it. The 0, no doubt. Yeah. And one of those young guys, maybe I'm sure would love to wear that. Don't know who should be Agent 0, someone on defense. And that would be interesting to see, Agent 0, seeing that on defense. So that's a good call. So maybe one of these defensive backs or, linebacker, somebody, I don't think they can wear it, but maybe somebody could be wearing this random number 0. Yo, I miss you, Musk. Yo, my man, appreciate you. And look, man, I appreciate you. I was just talking about you last night because you had tuned in, and then I was ended up talking to my brother. We were wishing each other a happy holiday, and he had mentioned him going to the draft party because obviously I was mentioning to you that I'm not going, and we were talking about you. So appreciate you tuning in, my man, and we'll be hanging out soon. So do not fear. But no, Jahmyr Gibbs, man, I talked about him during the show, the running backs. I went through, I'm not sure if you saw this, bro, but I broke down every single position and I go through, I have them in tiers and ranks, and then I show you what the Eagles have, and then I show you the fits. I show you why I feel this guy should be taken in what round. So Gibbs was part of that. And one of the things I talked about was, obviously not going to probably go as high as Bijan. Maybe, I don't know how it, pans out, but this kid's super talented and he brings you a lot to the table. Not to say that, Bijan Robinson can't be a receiver, but I think that, Gibbs, you can use him all over the place and you can use him in the return game. The kid brings a lot to the table. And if, you're at 30, you're trading back to 36 or 38 and you acquire, a 4th round pick, you get a 4th and a 5th, something, and you still feel he's going to be there or something like that's your game plan. I would be okay with it. I don't feel that running backs like, something where I'm so feeling so strongly as other fans, but I'm okay with it. I'm one of those people that build for the future, man. Do what you got to do. I don't care if we have Penny and Gainwell and Sermon and Scott. I don't, you could still add Bijan. Just like we talked about cornerbacks last night, we have the best trio in the game. And I do not care if they want to take one of the top corners. And I'm not sure the Gonzalez or Witherspoon is there, but at 10, I don't think so. At 30, we talked about that last night. A lot of great options. So you can add to a lot of positions, man. And Gibbs, he would fit right in, man, because he would bring you something in the return game. So that's something different than what we don't have. And in the pass game, Gainwell is definitely somebody you can use like that. But Gibbs is almost like a Gainwell. So for me, it's not necessary you do that. But if he starts like falling or something and you're feeling, frisky and that with that 2nd round pick, you want to move up, whatever it may be, man. a lot of options there. But I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. Very talented young man. Trey Sermon, we've talked about him, Drew, and I talked about this offseason getting an opportunity to, actually learn the system and be part of the system throughout the year. Now this offseason, getting his legs under him, getting his work in. So not the studying. So I think that for me, he was a third-round talent for a reason. You never know with running backs, but in the right system with this offensive line, you even heard Nick Sirianni at one point talking about, he was excited to see what he did. So for me, the sky's the limit for any of these guys when you're on this team with Jalen Hurts. And if you can show that, you belong here, hell yeah. But look, that's not to say that we can't add to this room. And I think that this team definitely could do so. Milton Williams at ST is going to have rec. What do you mean there? I think you're saying he's going to, let's go. But he's going to step right in, and he was dominant in the limited snaps he had, but we had such a dominant rotation that it wasn't necessary for him to be in there. But I think we drafted him for a reason, and everybody, remembers when he was drafted, people were pissed. But it's like when you compared him to Aaron Donald, his, all the little metrics and everything, analytics everybody wants to look at, it's like, dude, this guy, he's a freak athlete. That's why when people talk about Kalijah Cansey, I really like him, but it's like, I think Milton Williams will be just fine. And I think, a little bit heavier, 10 pounds heavier. And he's, to me, Milton Williams is a little light. So not to say Cansey isn't going to be a great player. I think he will, but that's some of the reasons I've avoided some of those guys where look, it's best player available, but it's also, I don't think we're going to take people we really don't need so much. We'll see. It's hard to trust that. It's hard to trust anything, my man. Anything at all. What do you think about Howie and Sirianni press? I loved it. I love those guys. And I love how confident they are and how confident, they've stayed. And it's the same with Jalen Hurts. They don't care all the negativity they were hearing last year, especially in the offseason. And it's like, we're just going to keep building on what we know is successful. We bring in a defensive coordinator that's going to run a lot of the same schemes, a lot of the same concepts and ideas. And that's, we were so successful last year on offense and defense because we had bright minds. So you bring in more bright minds, you replace some minds that people do not like. And I'm excited. We talked about Sean Desai extensively before he got hired, why I thought he would be better than Jonathan Gannon. And I think this defense, I know we've lost some pieces, but I think they'll be even better. And that's hard to say because of how good they were, one of the best we've ever had. But this offense, this defense, and those guys deserve to be confident. And I love, a lot of the things they say people get worked up over. And it's like, look, man, they're trying to throw curveballs at people left and right. You got to take all that stuff they say with a grain of salt, but love to hear from them all the time, man. Who can we get to fix our special teams? One of the things mentioned, was Gibbs, but there's actually a special teams show as well. And I mentioned a bunch of return men, but if you watch the running back show, you watch the receiver show, talk about, some of the secondary guys that have return capability. So I've mentioned all those things, so you can go check out that draft series. There is a playlist, but a lot of guys in this draft, Kendre Miller. I've mentioned Devin A-Chain. Ooh, that's a running back that, you don't get one of those top guys. Maybe he's in that third round, and you're like, dude, this guy is a game changer. You can line him up all over the place. He's a return man. That's somebody who, when I talked about him, it was extensively about the fact that this dude, he would be a game changer, and I'd be more than happy to have him. And dude, he could win wide receiver 3 eventually. So, but he's a running back. So you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of playmaker he is. Now I think you could use him as the running back and use him in a lot of different capacities. But hey, a lot of talent, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be bummed out when I see them go to certain teams. But hey, we'll hope for the best here. I'll put all the magic into the 8-ball, the magic crystal ball, whatever the hell we've got brewing up over here. But yeah, I love Milton Williams. I'm a huge fan of his. So excited to see that. Lane Johnson should wear his here because he gives up no sacks. It's a great point, Eric. That is a great point. And that would look really weird, but I love it. I do. I love it. How many guys do you see that have first-round talent? And there are 32 first-round picks with the same 25-year first-round talent. Well, you can go through all of those shows, and you can count up all those guys I had because I have no idea what number that was at. But there's some positions where there's only like one guy, 2 guys. There's somewhere there's like 5, 6, as I feel that are first-round talents. But I don't know. There's definitely some talented guys in this draft. I think some people are definitely overhyping a lot of players, and I talked about that in each of those positions. how I felt about certain players, and I had them ranked a lot lower. Don't really care what a lot of people are saying, So, hey, for me, it's very talented. So the fact that we've got 4 picks in the top 94 gets me excited. This is a loaded draft if you have a smart GM, and we do. And yeah, I know years ago he missed on a couple people, but so did every other team. And, other than the ones that took them. But I think he's proven he knows what he's doing. He's listening to his scouts, and everybody's on the same page. So for me, I'm very, very excited about what goes down here. And I think that there's loads of first round talent, and probably at least 30, 35. I don't know what the number was, to be honest with you, but you can go check out all those shows. And I'm going to be breaking those down in a top 10. There's going to be one of those videos too, like my top 10 favorite guys. So I'll bring up, where I had some of these people, and I'll maybe look that up for you. Talk about how much first round talent I feel there is. But for me, there was a healthy amount of guys for each spot where I felt the Eagles needed that you could take someone, whether that be with the 10th pick or the 30th pick. So for me, there's definitely probably like 35 guys I would possibly take. There are definitely a lot of guys that will get taken, though, and probably will not be that first round talent people think they will be. So some of those quarterbacks we talked about. So we'll see. We shall see. But I thought that was pretty nice myself, indeed. But the Army, do you think he would be able to ball out with the Eagles? Yeah, man. We talked about him. Carter, right? Andre Carter II. Brought him up with the edge rushers. I think that kid is a stud. I think he only ran like a 4.940. So that's one of the knocks on him. But I don't really care. I think with his size, being so tall, so big, he was somebody that a little lanky looking, right? But I think watching him play, I thought, man, that's the kind of guy that you put behind Hassan Reddick. Getting a little twisted there, Terry. But I think as a Sam linebacker, one of those guys that you can use as an edge rusher, but it can also, with his athletic ability, be able to drop into coverage at times. Now, people get very misconstrued about what that means. I don't have him on man coverage against some of these running backs or tight ends or something. No, it's a zone coverage that, this team is going to run. And I think that, guys like him are a great fit. So he was part of my top 10 best fits. So go check that show out as well, ladies and gentlemen. Part of that draft series, and it's all the best fits, but it's all the guys where I have them, in tiers, and I have them ranked within those tiers, which rounds I have them going in. And then I talk about what the Eagles have at the position. And then we talk about, my top 10 fits. And I think that edge rusher is always something the Eagles are going to be looking at. So Nolan Smith was clearly one of those top guys. And there's a lot of talent, man. So I think, the way the NFL is, people are starting to learn more. Like, it's not all about the stats. It's not all about certain things. People are always, where they get projections, I don't know. But, they're learning about these people. They're learning about their game, the type of situation they're in, what division, where they're playing in, what conference are they in. Like, you have to take these things into account when we're talking about everything in football, So whether it be NFL, NCAA, all those things come into play. Now, you can't get too carried away and just say that everything analytical is how it is, set that in stone, because it takes a little blend of both. And that's what I always try to do. And for me, edge rusher, always going to be a position we're going to go after. So I think Andre Carter II would not be against him. But that is something that I mentioned during the show, that the only fear you really have is, he could have to go over and serve in the Army. So it's something, a risk you take. So maybe he falls. Forget the number, and when you have to provide for your family, you will go to beast mode on any side of the ball, whether you're Marshawn Lynch or not. Yeah, and again, I always say, take all that with a grain of salt, man. When these guys are hungry and they got the right attitude, and that's why they're part of my top 10 best fits, because those are the type of the Eagles players that, they're looking for to add to the team. So only 6 likes, 17 watching. It's an unfortunate crime against humanity, Twisted. I don't know it, man. One of you said the other day, it's a crime I don't have 50,000. I'm like, well, let's try to get to 2,000. Then we'll try to get to 5,000. And then, we'll get to 50,000 one day, my man. But I appreciate all of you. I really do. And I'm doing everything I can to, provide something that is lacking in the community, because there are some great content creators out there. But for me, it was, how can I provide the cap space? How can I provide my draft knowledge, my roster knowledge, the schemes, all those things. So for me, it's just, I'm going to talk about the football stuff. And I have a great time talking to some of those other guys. I love watching them bust balls with all the Cowboys fans, all that stuff. But I want to bring something different. And I know I don't always rub people the right way, especially when I was saying Hurts would develop into something special. I know a lot of people unsubscribed and were really mad at me when I talked about, how we were going to be great on defense. And when I made the Super Bowl prediction, a lot of people got pretty upset. So I get that. I do. But I'm just doing my best to bring a differing opinion, something that, that I take a lot of time and effort into making the correct assessment of things so that I give you the correct information. And I never lie to you. I never would tell you, oh, the source gave me. I worked hard enough to actually get sources. So I actually just have people tell me stuff. And then when I'm allowed to tell you, I do. I hate when people make stuff up to you guys. So I wanted to be different, right? And those of you riding with me, I love the hell out of you. So thank you, man. And appreciate all of you that hit that like button. And those of you who subscribe, all that stuff, man, I really can't thank you enough, because each one of those, each time you comment, even when, this isn't live, when you go back those videos, that really helps, because then it pushes me out into the algorithm, the world of, whatever the hell I need to be in. So I appreciate you, man. And that's why I always tell you guys, can't do this without you. And I'm going to keep building, and we're going to keep growing. And I appreciate each and every one of you who's riding with me from the beginning. Just found your page and like, hey, I really appreciate that, Eric. Appreciate you, my man. But look, we're out here grinding. We're getting it in. I am the master of the cap, and it's been beautiful the last couple of years to finally get fans and media members understanding the cap. I was getting tired of them just making numbers, and we don't have cap space. Like last year was hilarious, talking about how we'd sign Reddick and White and then doing it. Like, I thought we didn't have cap. So this year we did it again, laughing at them when it hurts, so it's cool, man. But Eric, I appreciate you. Go check out some of that older content. I break down the draft. I do every roster move, every coaching change. I will always provide you insight on all of those things. This is something I've always done my whole life. Just want to know everything about the Eagles. I was born bleeding green, baby. So it just runs through the veins, and almost passed away a few years. But here we are now talking birds. And you guys pushed me to start a YouTube. Now I'm doing this and making graphics. It's wild how far we have come, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm alive and kicking. And we're going to work for the Eagles one day. So that is the goal. And I appreciate you riding with me, Eric. If you ever have any questions, comments, you just want to talk some birds, always feel free to reach out. Any of these platforms down here, my man. But we're just trying to change the game. And I was laying on my deathbed. My girlfriend was like, dude, you got to stop getting mad at these articles of people talking crap. She's like, why don't you make your own? So if you guys remember, I was writing for some people. I was doing things. So we're opening up doors here, baby. And I'm hoping to go some more closed practices this year, run into Howie again. That is the goal, because this time we're getting a job. So let's go. Appreciate you all riding with me to the top. Jimmy, when was the last time you have talked to your source? Because the people that the Eagles like at 10 have changed. Just talked to him about 2 days ago, actually. And, that was just a completely different conversation. We were talking about Jalen Hurts' cap, actually, because the numbers, obviously I'm ahead of the game with that stuff, and I think that's why those people liked me. But, understanding that stuff can be complicated. That's why I always try to simplify it for you guys, because I know it's annoying as shit, dude. I know. That's why I do this. But talking to them, we were breaking down, how awesome of an offseason it's been, just in the sense of making things work the right way and ensuring we locked up our QB1. That's the most important thing. Now we're going to build around him for the future. So we've talked about it, man. They feel always, the Eagles, it begins in the trenches, and it does. So offensive line, defensive line are always going to be a possibility. They are in love with Peter Skoronski. They like Paris Johnson too. They, on the defensive side of the ball, like Jalen Carter a lot. They also like Nolan Smith. Now, Bijan Robinson, they love him. They think, he's special. Now, take what Howie said yesterday with a grain of salt. Maybe he was saying that in hopes that teams think that they were talking about Bijan Robinson, so that maybe someone takes Bijan Robinson and then they actually get that guy they actually wanted. Or you can always hope that, whatever he's up to, he's already on the phone. I mean, Howie, dude, he's a nut. So even while he's talking to, the people that are with him, who knows if he's like planting seeds. And if he changed his opinion, I haven't gotten anything on that, but I was going to eventually, try to drop a little seed there about like, hey, what are you feeling for this number 10 here? Because, but I'm going to wait till after I do my show, because to be honest with you, I cannot read anybody else's stuff. I can't look at the other stuff, because if I do that, it's always going to mess me up. Whether or not I agree with them or not is not the problem. And it's not that I don't appreciate other people's or value their opinion. It's I don't want it to mess with what I'm thinking. I don't want to hear them say the same thing and be like, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, do I not like this person's opinion? So now I can't like it. Like, or, it's like it messes with me, man. So I've just been trying to do it my way the last few years. And I think you've all seen it's worked out pretty well for 4 years in a row. So we're going for number 5, baby. Now, can't say I was thrilled about 2 of those picks being right on them. But when you know what Howie's up to, you just kind of take a stab. And, well, Dillard and Reger, best of luck to you elsewhere. Oh, Grandma always gets mad at me when I talk to the TV and I don't live with her. Well, that's hilarious. Look, everybody in my family, I think that, they know exactly what I am, and they've known that from day one. They are the ones that built this. You can blame it on my brother, my father, my grandfather. This is something that I'm always going to be a nut job, and I love it. I love every second of it. That's why I dedicate my free time to talking to you guys about it, because it's football 24/7, 365. It never ends. This offseason, we haven't taken a day off. So there will be a moment where I'll go on vacation with the family, but just like last year, if anything happens, I'll be making a live video from the beach. I don't care. It does not stop. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get rolling out here. We went 10 minutes over here, but how was president of all our problems will be solved in a week? Yeah, that would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate each and every one of you. Eric, appreciate you and all of the new subscribers out there. If you guys ever have anything on your mind, feel free to reach out. Appreciate the members. Well, one member tonight in the mailbag there, Luffy, cannot thank you enough. Now, again, we'll not be back for Fan Friday next week because the draft will be going down. So we'll be talking about all that stuff. So I'll be here. It just won't be Fan Friday. But we'll continue the week after. We'll keep things rolling, and that will be an exciting one. But going to finish up tomorrow with safeties. So hope to see you then. But if you're looking for a little content tonight to get you by, go check out those draft videos. When you comment on them, and then I see them, we'll be talking some birds some more. So I'm all about it, man. I love when you guys comment on that stuff. And whenever I see it, I love having conversations about this stuff because it takes me a while to get these ready. And then I got to try to rush, get them in. And then it's like, I don't ever want to cut you guys off. And I know there's a lot on your mind. So that's why I always tell you, feel free to reach out. I'm always down to talk some birds. Do not ever feel that I'm not. And if you ever message me or tag me and I don't respond or anything, seriously, just tag me again or comment or something, because I would never ignore you. I just get ass loads of notifications nonstop throughout the day. So please, ladies and gentlemen, understand this is a family. And if you are part of that, I would never leave you out of anything. But it's all I've got for you tonight. Got to go hang out with the fam. Gonna go enjoy some time. I hope you're all enjoying the start to your weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow for the safety show. If anything happens in between then, I will be back, of course. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me now. Cowboys!